Coming to you live from a little grass shack in the middle of the Pacific Ocean. It's the Junior Kekuewa Jr. Show, starring Junior Kekuewa Jr.
I thought we fired this guy. I don't know what's going on.
Join Junior along with the Wayne Borje Band as he makes any kind from Hawaii.
Any kind, you have no idea.
And now, ladies and gentlemen, Junior Kekuewa Jr.
Hawaii. Okay. All right. Well, hey, getting off already. All right. I'm Junior Kekuewa Jr. Welcome to the podcast. The podcast that asks the question. Actually, we don't ask questions. We don't know because people feel invaded. They feel like their privacy is, I don't know, like something wrong. You know what I'm saying? But anyway, welcome to the podcast. Today we're going to talk about hell is full. Okay. Hell is full. Okay, no more room. Okay, so sorry, all you people that think that everybody else is going to hell. Okay, sorry, it's full. All right, so we have a good podcast for you today. We really do. But we're going to talk about different things, okay? And one of the things that we're going to talk about is the subconscious, okay? Now, the subconscious, right? We talked about this before. Your subconscious is made up from everything, what you see, what you feel, that kind of thing, right? Like everything, what you touch, what you smell, your senses, that's your subconscious, okay? Now, some people are of the subscription or of the understanding or of the, as it were, right? But they think it's a state of mind. It's like subconscious. Okay, I'm going to take this component of my brain and then I'm going to, make it into something, or I'm going to mold it into something, or I'm going to reprogram it into something, right? Okay. So, but this is, this is part of your subconscious thinking. Okay. This is, when you get the psychologist's or professional view of, what's going on, right? Okay. I'm gotta say, I'm not a psychologist. Okay. never, ever want to be. Okay. I have a good friend that's a psychologist and he's a damn good one. He's a really, and great guy. He's a great guy. And we talk shop once in a while. We talk story. And, but this is not that. Okay. This is not that. Okay. Now, first of all, I gotta go over some basic things. Okay. And the reason why the show is called Hell is Full, okay, is because recently, right, I've been working with a lot of religious people. Okay, religion, religious, okay, so that centers around a certain, dogma or belief system, okay? And belief systems are good. Okay, don't get me wrong. I'm not here to bash religion. I'm not here to bash like anyone. Okay, but here's what I'm going to do, Hawaiians. I'm going to talk to you guys about affirmations, visualization, vocalization, and meditation in such a way that maybe you've never heard before, and maybe this is going to open your ears and eyes and thoughts, and okay, like the light bulb goes on, and you go, all right. So anyway. When we talk about hell is full, so I run into these people who have this idea, right, that it's their way or the highway. Okay, it's like you need to believe like this, because if you don't believe like this, then you're going to hell, right? And when I talk to some of these religious people, right, and I go, like yesterday, I had this lady, and she's one of my clients, and I like her, and so I give her free sessions because I want to help her. Now, this lady could not vocalize when I met her. Okay, it was as if her voice was gone. Now, if we use that as a metaphor, and we can say that when you find your voice, you find yourself. Okay. When you find your voice, you find yourself. So if you don't have a voice, okay, what does that say metaphorically? You see? So I give her, free sessions so that we could develop this voice in her, so that she can find it, so that she could, you see what I'm saying? Right? And then she finds herself. Okay. And she's starting to find herself because she's very proud of what she's doing. And I'm happy. And this is why I'm doing it. This is why I'm volunteering. Now, this is my community service. Now, some some people, and I didn't even commit a crime, and I'm doing community service. But the reason why for this, okay, is because there are certain things that doctors cannot do that I do. There are certain things that psychologists cannot do that I do. There's certain things that I have discovered that I do that nobody else does, right? And some people look at, unks as crazy, right? It's like, oh, uncle, that's crazy. That idea is crazy, but you know what? It works. But no, tell nobody. But yeah, it works. That kind of thing. So anyway, but I was talking to her yesterday, okay, and I happened to, mentioned to her like, this heaven and hell thing isn't real, and she goes, oh no, it's real. Okay. And I mean, in that way, right? In that context, okay, hell, real, not real. Okay. And she goes, oh no, it's real. So I go, wait a minute. If that's the case, then hell is full because all the Muslims are there, right? All the Buddhists are there, all the Taoists are there, all the like people who have never, come to Christ. Okay, now I'm a spiritual Christian. Okay. So I do believe in Jesus. I do believe in what he taught. I believe it's the one truth. Okay. The one truth as far as the kingdom is within. Everything is within. The only thing that's out there, Hawaiians, okay, the only thing out there is nature, and the rest came from someone else's in here. Okay, someone else's thinking, someone else's imagination. Okay, and I'm putting it on the podcast so that we can have this, as a record of like, oh, Uncle said this years ago. Because when I'm long gone and I'm dead and and I'm enjoying my my eternal rest, as it were, as it were, right? Now, then people go, oh yeah, look, Uncle said this. Uncle said this years ago, and it's not just me. It's not. Trust me, these are not original ideas. Okay, these are not original at all. Everything that I am saying has been said. Maybe it hasn't been said in such a way that it resonates with you. Okay, if it resonates with you, then fine, good. I'm happy. Let the light bulb go on, because it took. I want to say it took many different people, to make my light bulbs go on, and then I went, oh, okay, I get it, right? Okay, now here's, this is a law of attraction comedy podcast. Okay, so and there's some comedy involved. Okay, so hell is full. Okay, hell is full, because otherwise we have to say that everybody else is in hell except Christians. Okay. And like I said, I'm not bashing Christians, okay? I'm a spiritual Christian. What does that mean, Uncle? Okay. What that means is that I recognize that the kingdom is within. I recognize that when I pray, I get something. When I meditate, I listen and I get instructions and I feel instructions, and then I do. Okay. That means that I don't need a church to validate my beliefs. I don't need a preacher who is another human being who is like me, or let's say, smarter than me, or maybe not as smart as me, or enlightened as me, or maybe not as enlightened as me. But I don't need another human being regurgitating these thoughts and regurgitating these things, because I can feel what is right from in here. Okay, because the kingdom is within. That kind of thing, and and there are some people listening to the podcast right now going, "Oh, that's a pretty good idea, Uncle." You see what I mean? So anyway, I told you, comedy, get comedy, get comedy. All right, so affirmations, visualization, vocalization, and meditation. Now, there are many different avenues to this, right? Now, what I want to do is I want to go over briefly the common or the textbook understanding of these things. And then I'm going to tell you how my training is different, okay? And it's not about selling you training. This podcast is not about I don't want to sell you anything, okay? And as a matter of fact, if you want to come to me and just check this out and just try this, I will do it for you, okay? I will do it for you. But this, you have to understand that this deals with magic, not the hocus pocus magic, not witchcraft, not anything like that, but the magic that you have in you. Now, whether you want to call that magic soul, energy, spirit, okay, whatever you want to call that, that's what I'm talking about. And when you wake that up, when you start to when you start to infuse that, when you start to awaken that, when you start to exercise that, okay, things change. Things change in a major way. Okay. So affirmations. All right. So affirmations, right, are positive statements that we repeat to influence our subconscious mind, to help to create a mindset that aligns with our goals and values. Okay. Now, affirmations reinforce self belief and combat negative self talk. Okay. What's negative self talk, right? Okay. Yeah, exactly. It's self explanatory. It's the talk that you tell yourself about yourself that's bad. Okay. And you know what? You know how negative self talk can start? Okay, I'll give you a fast story over here, Hawaii. So I had a girlfriend like years and years and years years ago. Yeah, it's been a minute. But I had this girlfriend, right? And she was the most beautiful thing. Oh my, she's the most beautiful woman. And I was so in love with this girl, right? And one day I happened to say something to the effect of, you know how clumsy I am. Now, the reason why I said that is because I was a big boy. I was like 260. I was huge. Okay. And I wasn't just big. I was strong. I was big, strong, young. All those things that happen, and then all of a sudden you wake up one day and you go, "Hey, how did this happen? How did I end up like this?" Anyway, but I was big and strong, and and so anyway, I happen to say, you know how clumsy I am. She goes, "You are not clumsy." Now, in my mind, I thought I was clumsy because in my mind, right, I'm 260. I'm like this big dude, and I think I'm clumsy. And then I start, and then she goes, "Who told you that?" And I had to think. And I really had to like, okay, yeah, who told me that? And I started to think, and then I go, oh, okay. When I was young, my mother told me, she said, "You know how clumsy you are." Now, my mom didn't really want to inflict anything on me. She didn't really want to like mess up my life or my thinking or anything like that. And she was probably having a bad day, okay? But that one comment stuck. It just stuck. It's like when you're playing darts, right? That thing goes off the board, but it just sticks in the wall. It's just there, right? And yeah, there's a lot of visuals involved with this show. So hang in there. Okay, we're going to the left a little bit, small kind. And but it was just there, right? And I thought about it. I said, no, yeah, my mom said that. And that's how I thought it was true because my mom said it. And if my mom said it, right, it's got to be true, right? Wrong. Okay. Wrong. Totally wrong, right? So I was 40 years old at the time. Okay. Now, all the way until 40, that was my reality. Okay. Now, what's your reality? What's the negative self-talk in your head? What's the bad stuff that you're telling yourself about you, Hawaiians? Okay. Think about it. Just think about it. And then I want you to go back and go, okay, now, is this a fact? Is this a fact about me? Does this have any basis in reality? Is this really true? Can I, is this really true about me? Or is this imagined? Or is this fictitious? Or is this made up? Or is this something that I've just been thinking? Okay. Because you got to think about that. All right. Now, so that's what happened to me. Right. And that's like one of the examples I can use that I go, oh yeah, no, that's not really me, you know? And from that day forward, so I had to observe myself for a while, right? So for a couple of weeks, like I was observing. Now, here's the thing about humans, and here we go off to the far left, okay? And no political pun intended, okay? But we're gonna go to the far left because, right? When you start evaluating yourself, okay, humans are the only ones that can observe ourselves. Animals don't have that. They have that one unidirectional experience, okay, but we can critique ourselves in real time, and that's why this is a problem, or it can be a problem. Okay, when you start critiquing yourself in real time and you start picking yourself apart and go, oh yeah, I shouldn't do that, or oh yeah, I'm this or I'm that, and you start judging yourself. Okay, because we all do. We judge ourselves in real time. And that's what reinforces negative self talk because the seed can be planted. In that case, maybe my mom was having a bad day. And she just happened to say, you know how clumsy you are, right? And I started thinking about it. And the more I thought about it, the more I thought, yeah, that's right. You know, so some of us have been programmed. Okay. Now I don't talk about this a lot, but there's family members that I have that have been told things, right? That they start to believe. They start to believe it hard, right? Because it came from a senior family member or it came from a family member that they look up to, right? And then they take it as gospel and then what, right? So I had to ignore a lot of stuff. Okay. When my parents got divorced, um, my mom was always your father this, your father that, your father, your father, your father. Of course, there was no one else there to talk to. It was me and my mom, right? But I had to ignore all that stuff. I had to go, yeah, yeah, okay, whatever. And I had to be stronger than to be susceptible to it, okay, and believe it and make it a part of my reality. I had to go, no, 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 never mind, whatever, right? And so I made it a point not to judge my dad based upon what my mom said. Now, I can tell you from personal experience, I've seen it work the other way, where kids cannot be strong enough to get past those things, and they start to believe those things. And what happened? What happens then? Well, then you have hatred, okay, and so now you might be asking, because we're into negative self talk, right? Now you might be asking, like, okay, what does this have to do with hell is full? Well, what this has to do is with hell is full is like if you believe that it's only your way or the only way that you believe is the only thing and everything else is wrong. Okay, if that's how you think, then you're suffering from limited thinking. Okay, and I'm not saying that your religion is wrong or your faith is wrong or anything like that. But what I'm saying is when I grew up with, these Christian principles that I had, or let's say these religious principles that I had, or let's say these beliefs that I had, at some point in my life I had to go, you know what? Yeah, maybe there is something else. Maybe there's not only one way. Maybe there's different ways for different people. Oh, and then oh yeah, perceptions are different. Okay. All right. So let's get back to affirmations and negative self-talk. Okay. Now, negative self-talk, right? When you start repeating these things to yourself over and over and over, what does your subconscious do? It memorizes these things, right? And then when it memorizes these things, what's your story? Well, your story is, yeah, you know how clumsy I am. That's your story. Okay, for me, that was my thing, right? Well, I'm clumsy. Yeah, me, I'm clumsy, right? Now, the worst thing you can do is add I am or I'm to that. Okay, now in the Bible, and I can only reference what I know, okay? In the Bible, when Moses goes to get the law, he goes to receive the law, right? And this is not about church or anything like that. So don't get offended if you're not a Christian, all right? This is just a talk show. This is just a podcast, talk show, whatever, okay? This is just uncle, okay? But when Moses went to get the law, God said, "Tell the people of Israel, I am sent you." Okay? So now you have I am. So blasphemy against God or, things that you do against God, there can be no greater thing than to go against or denounce, right? Or put down his creation. Because that's like saying, you know what? You made this, but this sucks. You made this, but this is wrong. You made this, but it's not good enough. You did this, but I hate this because I hate me, right? Because I am stupid. I am lazy. I am clumsy. You see? You see where I'm going? All right. So that's the big sin, right? That's the big blasphemy against, So they say, well, blasphemy against the Holy Spirit is not acknowledging the Holy Spirit. Well, of course not. But what they're really saying is that Holy Spirit that dwelleth within you, the kingdom within, right? That energy, that soul, that spirit that is of God, that God put in you. Okay, or that you inherited from God. And you know what? You can change that name God to higher self. You can change that name to energy. You can change that to soul, spirit, all of that. Okay? It doesn't matter. I say God because it's easy. It's what I understand everything to be. Do I think God's a man or a woman? No. I think God's an energy. I think if anything, God is a force field of energy. Okay. But that energy, part of that energy is in me and it interacts with me. Now, quantum physics is proving all this stuff. Okay. Now, before I take you guys too far to the left, I just want to tell you guys, okay, the biggest sin, the biggest, most nastiest sin you can do is negative words after I am or I'm, because I'm means I am. It's an abbreviation. So I'm stupid. I'm lazy. You know how dumb I am. You know how stupid I am. You know how right? You see? Okay. So stop doing that. Okay. And change your negative self-talk. Okay. Now, how do you combat negative self-talk? Okay. Duh. Positive self-talk. I am so smart. I am so generous. I am so kind. I am so, and in the beginning, Hawaiians, okay? In the beginning, when you first start doing this, okay, it's going to feel like really weird, like choke weird. It's going to really, you're going to feel so funny. You're going to feel so out of place. You're going to feel so like, I should not be doing this. This is crazy. This is crazy, right? Okay, bear with me always. So in the beginning, that's how it's gonna feel. Okay. Now I had clients, and no names on this podcast. Okay. Even the dumb and stupid people that we talk about, or the dumb and stupid people that, that I perceive, right, in my perception and in my experience. We don't even mention names, okay? But here's what I'm going to tell you. Okay. Even the people you don't like, even the people you have bad experiences with, even the people that, may not be like your desirables, like on that list. Okay. They have a purpose in your life. They really do have a purpose in your life. Okay. Whether you think so or not. Okay. Now, those people, right, that give you, challenges, right? They make you mad. They test you. Okay. Now you're going to be tested in life, whether you like it or not, whether you want to or not, whatever. Okay. But but those things you have to look at as being tested. Okay. Now, what are you going to do with how are you going to pass the test? That's the question. How am I going to deal with this? I have this family member who's negative, negative, negative. Now, how am I going to change that? Okay. Now, in the beginning, when you start doing these things, when you start doing positive self-talk, when you start doing all this stuff, it feels weird. It really does. It's like, well, I am kidding myself. Who am I kidding? Right? Because you've been taught the other way. Now, here's something that the kids today, right? I see the kids, they're learning, and they're learning this, and the kids that are learning this stuff, this positive stuff, these affirmations, because their parents understand. Their parents understand that they screwed up. I mean, everybody screws up. I don't care who you are. Okay, but here's the thing, right? Here's your big fat butt, Hawaiians. Okay, but right when the kids are being taught this stuff, there's elders, there's older people. Okay, sometimes they're in their, I don't know, 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s, and they're looking at the kids and they're downing the kids because they're going, ah, yeah, whatever. Like, because they didn't grow up like that. Okay, but give the kids a chance because this is a new paradigm. This is a very new paradigm, and kids need to experience this, and they need to go through this. And you may look at it as being unrealistic, okay, especially if you're old. Okay, you may look at it as being a fantasy. Oh, and by the way, I was told that when I was a kid, right? You live in a fantasy world. You live in it, and I'm like, no. Because I'm going to block out the static. Because I'm not going to hear this, right? I was so stubborn. I put up the walls and I said, no, no, hell no. You're not going to tell me what to do. I'm going to do this. And guess what, Heinz? When I put my name, and this is not a flex, I'm just saying, okay? And I'm saying it for you. I'm saying it for you so you can do it one day too, especially if you're one of the young ones listening, okay? If you're one of the 17-year-old demographics that we have that's increasing, 17 to 24-year-olds, okay, so here's the test, okay? One day, 10 years from now, when you're 27 or when you're 37 or 47, put your name in a browser, okay? And watch how everything pops up about you. Okay, now compare that to the dreams and fantasies and unrealistic thoughts you had as a child, and you'll see what I'm saying. Yeah, it's going to take a while. Okay, but when I put my name in a browser, right, I see everything that I fantasized about when I was a kid. Things that, people said, oh man, that's a fantasy. What a Waikiki show? That's a fantasy. You stop living in a fantasy world. That kind of thing, right? But I also had a lot of people, significant older people. The majority of the older people I experienced in my childhood told me, "Oh, you're so smart. You're intelligent." So they weren't telling me that. It was people my age, right? It was my peers, and my peers were going, "Nah, dude, you're crazy." Like, what? That kind of thing, right? But I always, had this idea that if I just stuck to my ideas, like, I would make it happen or this. And I expected it. I expected money. I expected notoriety or whatever. Like, I don't even consider myself notable, right? I just know that I did this. I wanted to do this. I did that. I wanted to do that. I did that kind of thing, right? But this is a good test for you. Okay. Now, if you can materialize your stuff, okay, then you can see it in the real world, okay? And only if you visualize this, only if you use your imagination. And this is why Einstein said, if you use your imagination, knowledge takes you from A to Z. Imagination takes you everywhere. Okay, and it's more powerful than knowledge. Okay, I don't care. These guys, they sit around, they go to college. Okay, and I'm not downing, college people. I'm just giving an example. But these people that go to college, right? They go to college and they study this thing and they know this thing that they know inside and out, backwards, upside down, whatever, right? I'm going through life. I don't need to know all of that. I don't need to know all of this over here. I don't need to even know all of that over there. Okay. I don't need to know these things. Why? Because I'm having a great existence. I'm having a great life. Why am I having a great life? Well, because I blocked everything out except my dreams. I live my dreams. That's what I do. I live my dreams. Okay. And part of living my dreams doesn't mean taking away anybody else's dreams. Okay. And you got to realize that, Hawaiians. You got to realize that everyone has different dreams because everyone's perception is different. Therefore, if everyone's perception is different, right? Not everybody wants a new car. Not everybody wants a new house. So I showed a picture of my car to this one of my peers, like a lady around my age. She goes, "You know what that car says?" I'm like, "What?" She goes, "Look at me." And I'm like, well, like I was thinking the same thing too. I really was, right? Because my car is pretty hot. I mean, I gotta say, my car is pretty hot. Okay, but and you know what the irony is? I wanted that car when I was 25. I wanted that car when I was 25. But now, right, like at my age, right, I have the car. And you know when I was 25, I looked at guys that were my age now that had the kind of car that I have now, right? And they had my chicks. They had my my 25-year-old pure chicks. Okay, they were riding with those dudes, and I used to see them. I used to see them because they had money, they had whatever status, they had whatever. I used to see them, right? And I, under my breath, I was like, that kind of thing, right? Because I was like, why the hell is he? Why is she with him? And then I'm like, duh. He has the Corvette. He has the house. He has. You see what I'm saying? But she told me that, and I thought that was, I thought that was a pretty high compliment because I knew how she looked at things, right? And that gave me a little insight as to how she looked at stuff, right? And I'm like, okay. But here's the thing, Hawaiians. You can drive the car. You can have the house. Okay. I used to live in a $1 million mansion. Okay. And it was huge. It was a 5-story house. It was the dream house. Okay. Now, that dream house was manifested in the span of, I want to say, 3 to 4 months. And in 3 to 4 months, there I was in the house. Like, really. And but there were certain things, right? There were certain things that happened. And that's not a podcast, Hawaiians. That's not a podcast, okay? But I lived in the dream home. All right. So what are you gonna do? You're gonna live and die in the dream home? No, you're going to the next dream. Go to the next dream. Don't stop. Okay? Because when you stop, you get stagnant. When you stop, you start accumulating all this static. Okay? Just keep going. Keep going. Okay, did this, done this. Okay, Paul. Sorry. For those of you outside of Hawaii, Paul means finished. All right, so done. Okay. And now I'm moving on to the next dream. Okay, because life is short, Hawaiians. Live your dreams. Okay, like if you've already lived in the dream house, okay, what are you gonna do? Like live in the dream house forever? Well, you could. You really could. You could live in the dream house forever, or you could go, okay, I want the next experience. You could drive the dream car forever. Well, as long as it, can keep up, right? But then after that, it's like, okay, next, next. All right. Now, we left off with negative self-talk. Here's where we come. Here's where we go. Okay, put on the brakes, and then we come back. All right. So negative self-talk. All right. Now that I gave you all that information to process, now that I gave you all those thoughts to process. Okay, with my ADHD brain. Now let's go back and talk a little bit more about how affirmations help you. Okay, now regular use of affirmations can shift your mindset and build your confidence. Okay, really. I have this girl, okay, and she's a client of mine, okay, and like I said, Hawaiians, no names, okay. But all she really wants in life is to be happy and beautiful. Those two things. She just wants to be happy and beautiful. Okay. I took one look at her. I go, okay, this girl wants to be beautiful. This girl wants to be happy. She wants to have purpose. But because life is set up like this, because social media is set up like this, because everybody's just becoming more narcissistic in our society. Okay. It's very, very difficult to navigate sometimes. It's very difficult to figure life out sometimes. You know why? Because you go over here, right? And this looks good. And then you find out, oh, that's artificial. And then you go over here and you go, oh, this looks good. And you chase that for a while. And then you go, it's only a dream house, Or you chase this for a little while and you go, oh wow, that's the goal. If I could ever drive that car, and then you get in that car, okay. And after the second week, guess what? It's just a car. That's all it is, okay. And then you start to realize what Jesus Christ said, then you start to realize what these other people are saying. Okay. And I'm talking about thought leaders. I'm talking about Gautama Buddha. Okay. So Gautama Buddha said something very interesting. Gautama Buddha said, the man who sees life as an illusion escapes suffering. Okay. That's a good one. How's that one, Hawaiians? Yeah. Take that one. Take that one with your morning coffee right there. There you go. Okay. So this is all an illusion. Okay, so you buy stuff, right? Now you're responsible for that stuff. Sometimes you got to store that stuff. Sometimes, I'm sitting in my office, okay, where I sit, right? Like where I, do my clients and stuff, and everything's online with my companies now. But in my office where I sit, I'm surrounded by these very, very expensive guitars. Okay, and I'm going to give one to my teacher, the guy who made time for me when I was a kid, right? I have this guitar and it's worth a few $1,000s. And I'm going to give it to him because I sit here and these guitars are staring at me, right? When I sit in my office, and the guitars are just looking at me, right? I don't play anymore. I hardly play, and I hardly play these guitars. But here's your big fat butt, Hawaiians. But when I was in my 20s, I would have killed for these guitars. When I was in my 20s, I would do anything just to have just one of these guitars, one of these collector items, like just one. If you give me one, like I would jump through the ceiling. I'd be so happy. I would just like jump up and then boom, and then stuck in a roof, kind of thing, right? Okay, that's a visual. Anyway, but then, and then now at this stage of the game, I go, wow, okay, I accumulated this, I did this, I have that, and the other thing, and the other thing, and guess what? Guess what, Hawaiians? Okay, the kingdom is inside. Okay, it's not about these things. It's not about these exterior things. And that's why people are having such a hard time these days, right? Because they chase this. Chase. Oh, wow. Okay, empty. Chase. Reality, empty. You see? Okay. So I have this client, right? And because there's these things involved, okay, these negative aspects, okay, so negative self-talk, okay, now negative self-talk is just one thing. Affirmations help that, okay. What about guilt, fear, and shame? Okay, it's a real thing. And guess what? When you get too much of it, you can't express yourself from the inside. You get stuck, because it's like, if you want to call it a demon, if you want to call it negative energy, if you want to call it like you put it under that umbrella. Okay, but that's what it is. And it's that negative energy, and it binds you, it holds you. Okay, so the name Satan, okay, for you religious folks, okay, the name Satan means the opposer. Okay, so the yin and yang, right? You get the dark and you get the light, and you can't have light without darkness, and vice versa. Okay, now I don't want to get too heavy and too abstract for you guys, okay, because I can get pretty abstract. But what I really want to highlight or focus on is when you cannot even bring your voice up from the very depths of your soul. It's because something is holding it down there. Okay. Now, those little somethings are guilt, fear, and shame. And those things will bind you. So if you can make someone guilty enough, or feel guilty enough, or feel enough shame, or feel bad enough, they don't even want to come out. They don't even want to come out, and they can hide. The body is a good place to hide, and you can hide in there forever and ever. You can go your whole life without coming out. And a lot of people that I meet, a lot of people that I put through my process, okay, of bringing themselves out of themselves, that kind of thing, right? They would have never done. They would have never thought about it. They wouldn't have thought about it, right? But because I do this with them, this process, right? Then they go, whoa, yeah, my whole life has changed, Uncle. Yeah, your whole life has changed. Your whole life has changed because the process has been reversed, okay? Now, if you're watching a Disney movie, you could call it a curse. The curse has been reversed, okay? I'm not talking witchcraft. I'm not talking any of that. I'm talking your energy, Okay? Yeah, when you're all bottled up inside, when you feel like you have no escape, when you feel like you're like a caged animal in there, right? And you have nowhere, you can't go anywhere, and you're stuck. And when you feel stuck like that, what happens? You start to break out in illness. Right? One of the things my clients go, wow, uncle, like we never see you sick. Wow, you're never sick, uncle. And I'm like, no, I never call in sick. I'm never sick. You guys don't see me sick. Do I get sick? Once in a great while. The last time I really got sick was during COVID. Um, and I had COVID. I had the original COVID, right? And that scared me because I thought, boy, if I get COVID, I have asthma. I'm gonna die, And I still see people with the masks, like in where I live. I pass them. I see them on the highway driving with a mask in their car, and I feel so bad for these people. I want to help them, but you can't just save everybody. You can't help everybody. All right. Now, getting back to the affirmations part, okay? Now, when you focus on your strengths and you write them down, when you focus on, writing I am statements, okay? I am generous. I am kind. I am whatever, good looking. I am beautiful. I am whatever, smart, whatever it is you want to be. Write it down. Hmm. Okay. All evil, get this, Hawaiians, okay? Write this down. All evil is due to ignorance and the misuse of the mind's power. There you go. Bam. Right there. Oh, uncle, that's pretty good. Yeah. So, get that. All evil is due to ignorance and misuse of the mind's power. What does that mean? Well, when you're overthinking, I deal with overthinkers, right? And I try to change them. Okay, sometimes it's temporary, sometimes it's for a lifetime, and they're good after that, right? Because now they have control. They have control over this mind that just gets carried away and just kind of runs, that kind of thing, right? But overthinking, if you're an overthinker, you're probably a really good thinker. Okay, you're just thinking too much. You're just obsessing over the wrong things. You're just walking down the wrong hallway, whatever, however you want to put it. But that's you. Okay. And if that's you, I have the solution. Okay. Just hit me up. Just hit me up and we'll turn this whole thing around for you. All right. Now, affirmations, when you repeat affirmations daily, okay, and you combine that or marry, okay, emotions with intention, that's when you get manifestation. Okay. Now people think that, I'm going to manifest money. I'm going to make it appear out of nowhere. I'm going to manifest money. Yeah, you can. You really can. All right. Now here's a thought. You're in a mall. Okay. Now we're going to the left again. Hawaiians, get ready. Buckle your seatbelt. Here we go. If you go into a mall, you are surrounded by money. Money's walking all over the place, right? In other people's pockets. Okay, now it has different forms. Sometimes it's cash. Sometimes it's a credit card. Sometimes it's a debit card. Sometimes whatever, right? Okay, sometimes it's a cell phone, right? Okay. So, but it's all over. You're surrounded by money. So what's your job in life? Well, your job is to attract that. Your job is to attract money. Your job is to become a money magnet. You're surrounded by money. If you live in a neighborhood, you're surrounded by money. Your neighbors have money. And I'm not saying, they have $1 million. And they don't have to. It's not about that. Somebody could have $10. Somebody could have 25 cents in their pocket. Okay. And then maybe that's all they have. But you're surrounded by that. So get over this lack mindset. Get over this thinking that, I don't have, like, I'm poor. No, you're not poor. Okay? Poverty. Okay? Ralph Waldo Emerson said poverty consists of feeling poor. Okay? Feeling poor. All right, there you go, Hawaiians. Okay? Don't feel poor. Come on, it's the worst thing you could do. All right, now let's move on because we only have a few minutes left in the podcast, and every podcast, right? I try to give you ideas. I try to give you a little bit of knowledge, small kind, but a lot of ideas, so that you can get creative with your life, so you can make it better. And this is free. This is my public service, okay? Kind of like that lady who told me that I was flexing with my car. My car says, "Look at me." Like, my car does says, "Look at me," and that's why people buy cars like that, or lease. In my case, lease cars like that. Okay, but not real. That's not really why. Because when I went to the dealership, right, I didn't go to the dealership with the idea that, okay, I want a car that says, "Look at me." No, I went to the dealership because back in 1990, when I was writing out my goals, when I was, making goals for myself, this brand of car that I happened to drive was my target. Okay, now I'm on my third one. I'm on my third. I'm gonna be on my. I don't even know if I want to go four. I've done this already, right? I think Maserati's next, right? You talk about something that says "Look at me," like, okay, but it's a goal, Hawaiians. It's a goal. I don't want to drive whatever forever. I just want to experience it. Like, let me experience 3 years of a lease in a Maserati, and then we'll move on. I don't know. Maybe it's a Lamborghini after. No, no, I wouldn't. They're too small. They're too short. Too low to the ground. But whatever. I'm just saying. Maybe it's a Toyota. I've never really had a brand new Toyota. I never leased a brand new Toyota. Maybe it's a Toyota. Maybe I want to experience that. It doesn't have to be like something really extravagant. It doesn't have to be that. All right. So now visualization. Okay, visualization is the practice of imagining your goals. Okay, because when you visualize, okay, you're imagining you already have it. You're imagining you're already okay. Can you smell it? Can you touch it? Can you feel it? So Rhonda Byrne, right? When I was studying the secret stuff back in 2008, right? When my eyes were open to all this, right? She said you have to put your hands on the steering wheel. You have to imagine you driving down the street in your new car. You have to imagine that. And so that's what I did, right? I was sitting on my bed, right? I was sitting on my bed. I had my hands up like this, like it was on a steering wheel, right? And she goes, "You have to smell the leather, right?" So I know what new car smells like because I went to look at new cars in the showroom, right? And I know what a brand new car smells like. So I'm sitting there, I have my hands like this, like I'm driving a car, and I went, "Yeah, I can smell the leather," right? Okay, now I thought I was being stupid. Really. When I first did that, I thought, like, "Oh, man," like I was telling myself, "Bro, this is crazy. This is really crazy." Okay, but I did it. And guess what happened? One day I was driving down the street, and this was in 2008. And one day I was driving down the street, right? And I happened to see this dealership that was a friend of the family. Okay, he didn't get involved in the process of anything, right? But my stepfather told me, like, if you're gonna buy a car or you whatever, support Charlie, right? And so I was driving down the street, and this was a high end place. Okay, if you must know, it was Infinity. It was an Infinity brand. It's the Infinity brand. And I was driving down the street, and then all of a sudden I saw this place, right? And I go, "Oh yeah," because Rhonda Byrne said to act on inspired thought. Okay, I mean, she got me started in all of this. Okay, the movie The Secret. Okay, now if you guys don't know about it, look it up. Go on YouTube. The Secret. Rhonda Byrne, Byrne is her name. So that happened, right? So I go in, and the rest, as they say, is history. And you know what? From that very day in 2008 till right now, okay, the only thing I know, Hawaiians, is that I always smell new car smell. Okay, now I lease. I used to buy. Yeah, I lost some money here and there or whatever. Who cares? It's only money. It's only money. You're here to experience life. You're here to drink the, I don't know, seltzer to taste the grapes, to eat the chocolate. Okay, what good is all your money going to do in the bank? First of all, that's not where it grows. So yeah, wrong already. But you know what I'm saying, right? All right, let's move on. So visualization, you have to imagine it. Now vocalization is now. I'm going to give you the and we're going to run out of time. I can see it already. But vocalization, okay, the way they put it is the act of speaking or singing out intentions. Like, I want a new car, that kind of thing. Okay, no, that's not what I do with people. What I do is I have them bring out tones in their voice. Okay, very strong, because humans are frequency beings, and it changes their chemistry, their brain chemistry. Okay, and the whole thing is on my website. If you go to hereforyoulifecoaching.com, you can see the science of confidence. Go click that tab and go read the science, okay? So I'm not going to get into vocalization too much, but I'm just going to tell you that if you're looking up this stuff online, like vocalization, they don't even come close to what I do with people. Okay, it's very, very different. Now, meditation, praying, okay, really, really quick. Praying is talking to God. Meditating is listening to God. And you have to do both, Hawaiians, okay? And there you go. There you go. All right. I'm sorry, Hawaiians. I gotta go. Until next time, this is Junior Kekuewa. Junior say mahalo and aloha.